Thank you very much, Russ. A notorious Hamilton mobster has been shot dead in a drive-by shooting outside of his Waterdown home. Shots ringing out through Chesapeake Drive. This happened around 4 yesterday afternoon. 39-year-old Angelo Musitano was found inside a vehicle with multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to hospital but died of his injuries. Police say they believe this was a targeted attack. The Musitano family was one of the biggest crime families in Hamilton. The victim and his brother charged with first-degree murder of mob boss Johnny Papalia back in 1997. Those charges were later dropped, but they both did plead guilty and served 10 years for conspiracy in a death of a Niagara crime boss that same year. Hamilton police say they are looking for one suspect who is seen fleeing the area. Well, today marking 1 year since a massive fire erupted in Fort McMurray, forcing nearly 90,000 people to flee their homes. And now the oil sands community continues to rebuild from the costliest disaster in Canadian history. The blaze was nicknamed the Beast as it grew from just a small brush fire to more than 500,000 hectares, destroying about 2,500 buildings, causing roughly $4 billion in damage. That number much higher when you factor in lost wages and the economic impact that rippled right across the country. No one was killed in the fire, but 2 people died in collisions fleeing the disaster. Residents finally returned home about a month later. It's believed the fire likely human-caused. Fort McMurray saw an outpouring of support from across the country. The Canadian Red Cross receiving more than $320 million in total donations and matching government grants, which is the organization's biggest ever campaign. So far, 3/4 of that money has been spent on relief efforts. And coming up later on this morning, we'll be checking in with BT Calgary's Ted Henley. He's reporting live from Fort McMurray with the latest on rebuilding efforts and how the community is healing 1 year later. Well, new sales figures are coming later this morning from the Toronto Real Estate Board for last month. It is the first housing report since Ontario announced a new tax aimed at foreign buyers. You may remember the last set of staggering numbers, which showed housing prices in the GTA jumping by more than 33% in March compared to the same time last year. The provincial government has announced new steps aimed at cooling the red-hot market, including a 15% tax on buyers from outside the region. A similar tax has already been rolled out in Vancouver. While it initially seemed to calm the market, the latest stats show prices have climbed about 5% in the last 3 months. Coming up here on BT, we'll have the new real estate report as soon as it is released. Well, 2 Toronto neighborhoods are taking safety into their own hands, urging residents to call police if they see anything out of the ordinary. Amanda Ferguson now with more on an effort in the Yonge Corridor and in Cabbagetown.
Residents in Cabbagetown being told to be on guard. The local residents association put out a warning saying they've gotten multiple reports of a man following female residents in the neighborhood, sometimes asking for money. 51 Division could not confirm these reports, yet residents say they're not surprised.
It had happened a few years ago on Amelia. Someone got mugged, so I'm sort of, we're sort of aware.
The Cabbagetown Residents Association asking people to use this, a brochure recently created by the Downtown Yonge BIA as part of a safety initiative launched just this week.
It really shows how to report a crime, the severity of crimes, whether it's a 911 call or whether you want to report online.
What prompted it?
Well, really, we've been sort of looking at the neighborhood over the last 2 years and seeing a lot of street-based issues.
According to Toronto police data, in late April alone, there were 20 assaults and 2 robberies. Police say the key is to report any safety concerns to them, big or small.
A lot of the times things happen throughout the city and nobody bothers to contact police, which is, if we're not aware of it, we're not able to investigate it until things escalate to another level.
A piece of advice residents in Cabbagetown like Janice say they've used before and will continue to do so.
Does that change the way you think of the area?
Not at all.
No?
I've lived here 18 years and we've been very, very active.